It's just been announced that an IDF soldier has been sanctioned and banned from entering America. What did he do? Well, he did exactly, to a T, what the SEAL Team 6 team, Owens and O'Neill, did to bin Laden. Yeah, really. The only difference is what happened after. The ones were a hero. The other is sanctioned as a criminal charged with gross violations of human rights and manslaughter. Guys, unbelievable things happening, but stay tuned, and we'll break it all down right now, right here. I'm Joshua, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda. You should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, if you have not yet subscribed, do so. Hit that notification bell and get that conversation going down in the comments below on what you think about this topic. Allure, Zarya, and the SEAL team. The difference between the two of these is outstanding. What they did is identical. They both took out terrorists. Obviously, one a little bit more higher. Everybody knew about Osama bin Laden. This terrorist that Allure Zarya took out, not so many people knew about. But the fact that they were both terrorists is obvious, and the whole world knows that. Tell us what you think about that down in the comments below. We're going to outline it right now. Let's back up to March 24th, 2016. Allure Zarya, an IDF sergeant, right? So he's a sergeant in the IDF. He eliminates a terrorist. Why did he eliminate the terrorist? Well, and this is the story. This is what happened. This is why the world condemned him. A terrorist runs up to one of his fellow soldiers and stabs him, literally stabs the soldier, trying to kill the soldier that was beside him. Allure Zarya shot him. The terrorist goes down to the ground, right? Unfortunately, he's not completely taken out, and the IDF goes into scramble. The terrorist has a large coat on. They're not sure if he has a suicide bomber. What is he, right? There could be more complications here. Allure Zarya makes quick decisions, shoots the terrorist again after it's seen that maybe he's already out. Right? He's not dead, but maybe like he's out. And according to rules of engagement, after someone is down, they're no longer a threat. You don't continue to pursue. Allure Zarya made the quick decision that maybe he was still a threat and finished him off. Again, this was a terrorist. This is what he did. He was down, but then he went ahead, followed through, and the terrorist was killed. Now, this happened in Hebron, a very political place at the time of 2016 under the Obama administration. Lots of pressure was going on then in support of the Arabs and against Israel. The Obama administration was hostile to Israel, and especially in the area of Hebron. Now, immense pressure was being put on Israel by the Obama administration, including the international world at the 2016 time. So Israel's facing amazing pressure from around the world, horrible pressure from around the world. And they cave to this pressure. And what do? They charge Allure Zarya in 2016 was when it happened. They charged him in 2017 with manslaughter and sentenced him to 18 months in military prison in 2017. So at the end, he only served 9 months, and overall, he was considered a hero in Israel for taking out a terrorist and saving his friend from the terrorist that was trying to kill him. So not only did his soldier live, but the terrorist was taken out. So most people in the world appreciate it when terrorists are taken out. People with terrorist ideology, people that want to kill innocent, they take them out. And that's what soldiers are there to do. And I don't think anybody's in disagreement with this. Now, here's a really crazy breakdown of what actually happened in the American side. So there's actually a team of American SEAL Team 6 that took out bin Laden. And the story of how they took him out is actually fascinating, and it follows exactly the same lines as what Allure Zarya did. Allure Zarya was not a SEAL Team 6 member, but he was an elite force in the IDF, not at that level. Just doing a guard duty thing was not a thing like a SEAL Team 6 mission. But here's this exact same breakdown happens. Let me read this. This is ABC News breakdown on the killing of Osama bin Laden. It says this. All went up to the third floor, talking about the SEAL Team 6, right? After the point man shots from the stairway, but when they entered bin Laden's room together, they found the Al-Qaeda leader already down and bleeding from the head. The point man's earlier shots had apparently connected, okay? So now we have Osama bin Laden. He's already down. The two women, this is straight from ABC News. The two women were inside the bedroom when the point man having deemed the downed bin Laden was not a threat, so bin Laden's not a threat, so he deems he's not a threat, right? You should get that? Tackled them, the women, into the corner, making sure that they're not a threat, right? So Owens and O'Neill then fired a few more bullets into bin Laden's dying body, right? So he's already taken out, right? But then they go ahead and go back into him. Only later did the SEAL teams realize who they had killed. They didn't even know it was Osama bin Laden at the time. This is according to Owen. So that's the outline from ABC News on how they actually took out Osama bin Laden. Now, that follows exactly the same scale of what happened in Alua Azaria's case, right? Alua Azaria, for the most part, he was pretty sure this guy was no longer a threat. I mean, in the SEAL Team 6 case here, they know for sure he's not a threat anymore. They say he's down, right? But then they finish him off. Well, that's exactly what happens in Alua Azaria's case, except for Alua Azaria actually has reason to believe that he's actually not even, like he's still a threat. He believes that he's still a threat, and that's why he shoots him. He believes that he's got a suicide bomber vest on, right? Okay, because he's got a big old coat on, and he makes that decision. Hey, guys, we'll be right back. But first, Israel's been at war for over 9 months now, which has taken a big toll on the economy. Businesses are struggling, and prices are rising. Thankfully, there's a way for people like you around the world to step in and provide strength where it's critical, where it's really needed. With Blessed by Israel, you have the opportunity to step up and invest in small businesses and families in Israel by purchasing their wonderful products. When you shop at blessedbyisrael.com, that's blessedbyisrael.com, you're getting more than awesome olive oil, tea, and honey, cosmetics, and many other products. You're sending vital reinforcement to keep Israel strong. So head over to blessedbyisrael.com. That's blessedbyisrael.com. Enjoy the wonderful products and make your critical investment in the families and small businesses of Israel. Use code INVEST for $5 off your first order. Be sure and just click that link in the description below. Now, I'll quote Alua Azaria. He says, I acted on my instincts in the spur of the moment. He said, so Alua Azaria quote, he quoted again, he said, it all culminated into the point, and I acted in full accordance with what I had been trained to do from the moment I became a combat soldier. That's what you're trained to do. You're trained to take out the bad guys, and when the bad guys show up, you finish them off. Now, I understand there's a big political thing that happened here in Israel, and Alua Azaria was the brunt of an international campaign against Israel. Israel only put him in prison and only went through this whole thing because of the international pressure. So here we have the Owen and O'Neill were deemed as national heroes, America's heroes. They do exactly the same thing that Alua Azaria does, taking out a terrorist after he's already just deemed incapacitated. They go and finish him off. This is exactly what Alua Azaria does, except for Jews are treated differently. You getting this? Jews are treated differently in the world than anybody else. So American soldiers can do that all day long, but Alua Azaria is not allowed to do that, okay? So that's the story. This is where we end today, and this is why I'm talking about this today, is because Alua Azaria is no hero. He was thrown in jail because of the international pressure. He spent 9 months in Israeli military prison. Now, he's a free man. Over the last 6 years, he's walked freely. He served his term. He went through the process of the military process, was condemned, served the time, and now the State Department, the U.S. State Department says this. The Department of State is taking further action today to promote accountability for gross violations of human rights and actions that undermine peace, security, and stability in the West Bank. All right, that's how they open up their statement here. We'll continue. We're talking about gross violations of human rights that undermine peace, right? Stability, security, inside what they call, the Biden administration calls Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. So this is the area they call it. Now, we'll continue with the State Department statement here. It says, we are designating Alua Azaria, a former Israeli Defense Forces, IDF sergeant, pursuant to Section 7031C for his involvement in a gross violation of human rights, namely an extrajudicial killing in the West Bank. We'll continue. We'll get back to it. We're gonna comment on this. We'll get back to it. As a result of this action, Azaria and immediate family members are generally ineligible for entry into the United States. Here we go. We're continuing. They've got all this stuff marked out. This is right in there, the whole statement from the State Department. We are also taking steps to impose visa restrictions on an additional group of individuals for having been involved in or meaningfully contributed to undermining the peace, security, or stability in the so-called West Bank, right? Specifically, these visa restrictions are being pursued against those who have used violence against persons or property or unduly restricted civilians' access to essential services and basic necessities to include access to water, food, water, electricity, or medical supplies. All right? The immediate family members of these individuals may also be subject to these restrictions. Now, this is a bunch of baloney. Look, let's just break this down a little bit. So they're saying, number one, they're saying Alor Azaria, who did exactly what our SEAL Team 6 did to terrorists, Alor Azaria did to terrorists. Let's just make it easier. And except for he's no longer a hero for being the good guy and saving his friend and killing the terrorist. He's now the bad guy, and he's charged with gross violation of human rights, extrajudicial killing, and he's going to be sanctioned. He can no longer enter America, but not only that, this is really ridiculous. So if you want to pick on one guy, that's okay, but his immediate family members are also now targeted and ineligible to enter the United States. This is what it says. Like, this is, and I don't get what generally ineligible means. That didn't even sound like a statement to me, but that's what it says. Then we continue down. These visa restrictions are being made to those, and you can get where this is going. Why they did it to this case with the Alor Azaria, I have no earthly idea. This was 8 years ago. We're talking about, why are you bringing up something for so long ago? I have no earthly idea why they're going back that far. And this was already dealt with in the Israeli sector. It's like it was finished. It's closed. He served his term. It's done. But now they're bringing it back up for some reason, and you can start to kind of glimpse why. They're bringing it up because they want to charge a lot more Israelis with this exact thing. You see it. It's coming. People that blocked, see, they're saying it right here. The visa restrictions will apply to those who blocked food, water, electricity, medical supplies. Where's that happening? Well, according to the Biden administration, that's what the Jewish people that are against refueling Hamas, that's what's happening with all these so-called aid. It's just refueling Hamas. These are the 4 things that they're bringing, supposedly, into Gaza. And anyone that gets in the way of that will now be condemned with these sanctions, right? These sanctions actually have some pretty serious implications. They're closing their bank accounts. They can't go buy water or bread and food and butter, whatever, milk at the store. Closing their bank accounts. Israeli banks are also connected to America. So this is actually causing when someone's sanctioned, it's a real big deal. Visiting America, I mean, somebody can be fine. But if you close down their money, their source of income and all these things, that's a real big problem. So anybody that resists America's pressure to refuel Hamas will now be sanctioned. Like, you see where this is going. This is literally what it's saying. Anybody that gets in the way of food, water, electricity, or medical supplies, like, guys, it's all skies for refueling the Hamas thing. So this is where they're going, and this is what has just happened to an IDF soldier and to his family, bringing up a case from 8 years ago. Okay, we're moving to the next piece of this. We once again call, this is from the State Department, we once again call, this is like their final threat, we once again call on the government of Israel and the Palestinian Authority, which is a terrorist organization. Again, really brutal that they're asking the Palestinian Authority to do something governmental, because they're not even a government agency to start with, to hold accountability, to hold accountable anyone responsible for violence in the West Bank. Was you're gonna tell the Palestinian Authority that you're going to hold accountable any violence when they're the ones perpetrating the violence. You don't get how stupid this is. But then you're going to sanction Israel. It's totally backwards, folks. You're going to sanction Israel and then let the Palestinian Authority loose under this guise that everybody's going to be held accountable. They're not holding the Palestinian Authority accountable whatsoever. Terrorism exists only in the Arab sector. There is not terrorism within the Jewish communities. Jews don't go out and kill Palestinians. That does not happen. It just doesn't happen. So this is just completely backwards nonsense. Okay, so back to our thing. Lastly, they say, and reiterate that we will not hesitate, big government here, reiterate that we will not hesitate to take our own actions to promote accountability. Sounds tough, right? You're telling Israel, we're actually in charge. Back off, and you better get things straightened out according to what we think you should do. Refuel Hamas. Send that humanitarian aid in there. Give them what they want. And back off of all of these different things. Don't allow soldiers to kill terrorists. If you do, we're threatening. We will take actions. That's what they said right here. So this is a nonsense thing from the State Department, but it's actually happening, and they're actually following through with it. The IDF soldier, Laura Azaria, is now sanctioned. He cannot go to America. His family can't go to America for literally killing a terrorist, just like what American soldiers are expected to do and have done. I can't even believe the amount of insanity that's involved with this decision-making process when someone should literally be a hero. And Israel would have never condemned this guy had it not been for all the pressure coming from all over the place. And now not only does it weaken the Israel on the world stage, it weakens every IDF soldier that thinks, if I pull the trigger, will I also be thrown in jail? That's the consequence for this kind of thing. And America is responsible for this pressure on Israel, weakening every soldier in the IDF. Putting that in the back of their mind, will I be sanctioned? Will I be thrown in prison by this pressure from America? That's not what allies do, ladies and gentlemen. Lastly, Benny Gantz, the former defense minister, he had this to say about this exact issue. Really nailed it on the head, actually. He says some good things and says he's kind of in the central part of the government, so I don't agree with everything he says, but he's a fairly respected government leader here in Israel and was the defense minister, so holds a very big position within the IDF. This is what he said. He said, the state of Israel has an independent, robust judicial system that is both capable and willing to punish under Israeli law. There is no reason why the U.S. State Department should impose sanctions against Israeli civilians. Such is the case with Laura Azaria. That was investigated, tried in court, convicted while serving in the IDF, and ultimately held accountable. Like in other cases, I want to convey to our American friends, there is no justification to interfere in Israel's internal legal processes. I couldn't agree more with this statement. It's exactly true. And this is actually coming from Israel's fairly left-wing side of the government. This is not one of the right-wing so-called fanatics. Really, Israel's getting fed up with the American pressure that's invading every part of the Israeli society, trying to rule in an unreal and unjust way. The Israeli people are actually saying this is unacceptable. Who knows? I don't know what this is going to turn out, but obviously Biden is not respected here in Israel, and this seems to be the overwhelming response, even from the left wing. Now, as we finish here, guys, I hope that this makes a little more clarity on what we should do. We should get things going. We got to educate. People are being misinformed abroad, and that's affecting the situation here on the ground. Guys, as always, don't forget to subscribe. Get that conversation going on the down below with the chat. And don't forget to check out the Blessed by Israel, the BBI, blessedbyisrael.com. Go and click that link. It's down in the description below. Go ahead and, I don't know, go buy some things for your friends. Support Judea and Samaria. Support the pioneers right here on the front lines. Really a great way to combat what's happening on the world stage and all the hostilities against these amazing, incredible people that are here on the mountains of Israel. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect to the truth of what is actually happening here in Israel's heartland. Christianity's in trouble. Every day our faith is attacked and often watered down. Those who are zealous for their faith are few in number, or they're not willing to speak up. Young people are leaving the faith of their childhood to chase the dreams of this world. If we look carefully at the Bible, however, we find that God gives us hope through an ancient prayer. The prayer unlocks the door to forgiveness and God's favor in our lives. It all goes back to the dedication of the temple in Jerusalem when Solomon prayed for the nations. Solomon prayed for you. Many times when Christianity is seeking repentance and revival, however, the key ingredient is left out: facing Jerusalem. Facing Jerusalem was written by Luke Hilton and Zach Waller, filled with their personal stories. This book paints a beautiful picture of how all believers should care about and recognize Jerusalem's key role in the redemption of the world. Purchase our book at facingjerusalemthebook.com or click the link in the description below. Enter the promo code Jerusalem for 10% off. Order your copy today and experience God's plan of redemption and blessing in your life. Just go to facingjerusalemthebook.com or click the link in the description below.